of regions being represented in this tournament here at Get On My Line 2020 is what they're calling it instead of Get On My Level. I like that.
Yeah.
So we got going right into the Wave D pools. We got Indy coming up against Kick. Oh, we even got pictures of the players. Look at this.
So these guys have not played yet. This is basically the first round of bracket. Is that right?
I believe so. So the way they separate the pools, this should just be the beginning of their tournament run for this wave.
Yep, it's the round of 2048. So many entrants in this event. It's actually ridiculous how many people these online tournaments are pulling in.
Yeah, for sure. We talked a little bit about that earlier, too. It's nearly 1,400 entrants for this tournament. Is insane.
That's insane. Right off the bat, Marth versus Yoshi. This is a really fun matchup to watch. It's one that a lot of Yoshi players feel is very doable, if not a winning matchup for Yoshi.
Yeah, compared to a lot of the top tiers, Yoshi has a lot of options to kind of deal with Marth's approaches, and famously, one of Marth's biggest weaknesses is that he generally has to commit pretty hard to an approach. Oh, Indy with the unfortunate SD after dominating that first stock, but still a good start.
I really like what he went for, though. He tried to complete the edge guard by naring onto Randall. He just barely failed to land on it.
Yeah, really clearly knows the matchup very well, though, does Indy already, just based on what we've seen here.
No, he's doing work. He's doing work. He seems to really have the flowchart on Marth down. He's almost 0 to death him twice at this point.
Yeah.
Both times just falling just a bit short of completing the stock as he wanted to. But honestly, it bodes really well for, wow, that's a beautiful parry.
Ooh. Yeah, he's just utterly dominating so far. Kick has been able to get almost nothing started on his end. And again, that's if you don't know the matchup as Marth, it can be very difficult to get anything started. It feels like you're running into a brick wall sometimes.
It feels that way with just about every character, honestly. But I think Marth especially suffers because he just doesn't have good ways to break the super armor. And just like that, a 3-stock from Indy.
Yeah, wow. Dominant with the only death happening with an SD from Indy's end. So Kick definitely going to have to figure something out. Might even want to try a secondary out if he's got one, because looks like Indy has the Marth match on lock.
Honestly, I feel like secondaries are not likely to see success against Yoshi. I feel like this character, if you don't know the matchup, may as well be as hard as like a top tier or a high tier to subdue. There are just so many peculiarities when it comes to Yoshi, and if you don't like fully understand his super armor and his parry, and you don't have a game plan versus those things, then he could be a devastating character to face.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's looking like, if assuming that Kick mains Marth, then it's looking like he's gonna struggle regardless against Yoshi. If that's how he did with his main against a character. Definitely a very strange matchup that you kind of have to familiarize yourself with to even be able to contend with it if the Yoshi player knows what they're doing, which clearly Indy does.
Yeah, although I do happen to know that Zane believes it to be a winning matchup, and he's got plenty of experience against AMSA at this point. So I think that does speak volumes, the fact that he's told me that. I would imagine it's really important for Marth to rack up percent at a distance before he really starts committing to anything, because you need the super armor to break. Otherwise, you're pretty much running into a brick wall.
Yeah, and that's easier said than done as well, is finding ways to rack up damage on Yoshi safely is not easy to do whatsoever.
Right. Now, I am noticing that Indy is getting some of these openings that could be ASDI down from Kickapoo's end. Like, some of these up there shouldn't be popping up at 0. So maybe that's what enabled Indy to get some of these devastating combos the first time around, and clearly this time around as well, as he starts off with a 1-stock lead.
Yeah, definitely just looks like some adjustments to the Yoshi matchup that Kick doesn't really know about need to be made. So this is going to have to be one of those matchups that he puts some time into to be able to deal with a Yoshi player who, once again, got to give some props to Indy. It's a lot to do with the matchup, but also Indy's clearly a very solid Yoshi.
No, yeah, I think you tend to see a lot of mismatches this early into tournament brackets, especially when the players aren't too well known. I definitely think Indy is looking like a really potent Yoshi player, actually.
For sure. You see the platform movement even that he's doing is looking very solid. Definitely knows the character pretty well. Kick, on the other hand, seemingly trying to figure out the matchup on the fly here.
Yeah, he'd really benefit a lot from cleaning up his ledge play, because he's gotten up from the ledge quite unsafely a few times now, and Indy's been able to capitalize with things like forward smashes just to send him all the way back off.
Right.
Marth is actually really tough to deal with on the ledge. He's not great at getting back up, but he's also difficult to get off the ledge if he refuses to make himself vulnerable. So I think Kick could benefit more from polishing up that ledge play.
Yeah, he can definitely take his time a bit more, which, as you said, Marth does have trouble getting up safely sometimes, as Indy takes it 2-0. But yeah, Marth does have trouble getting up safely sometimes, but he can also take his time down there. And if you overexert a little bit, that could end up in you dying instead, especially if you're a spacey or something like that. So
yeah, Marth can really create standstills at the ledge. Like, Marth is one of the characters where whenever he's